What's your scariest, most disturbing true story? I found a body when I was 14. Me and my family were hiking Easter morning along the Grand River, and me and my sister wanted to explore the riverbank, so we each went our separate ways. I saw a backpack hanging from a small tree, so I went over, but when I got closer, I saw a mannequin. The mannequin's hand was holding onto a branch, and it was laying face down in the mud, wearing jeans and a hoodie with the hood up. There was a gun on the ground. I thought it was fake, and an empty pack of Scooby-Doo fruit gummies. I decided to kick the thing, but when my foot connected with its thigh, I instantly knew it was a person. Bolted out of there, and I told my dad. I thought I kicked some sleeping homeless dude, and I was super paranoid, sprinting back towards my parents. My father went to investigate and said it was a body, so we called the police. Later found out the guy had unalived himself, bullet to the roof of the mouth, but he slightly misfired and probably lived for around 30 seconds after the shot. The police were very surprised we didn't hear a gunshot because it was that recent. The reason why I thought it was a mannequin was because his hand was elevated. This caused all of the blood drain out and pool in his body, which made his hand look snow white like a mannequin's hand would. Never saw any blood and never got to find out what was in the bag. Thank God I didn't see his face. Myself and 6 friends, aged 18, 28, mixed European group, were on a 5-day river canoe trip up a tributary of the Orinoco around Merida in Venezuela in 1998. Our guides were an older, rough-looking German guy and a slightly younger but shifty-looking Orinoco Basin Indian. One of our group knew fluent German, but for some unexplained reason, didn't share with the guide that she could speak it. Later told us she didn't want the creepy dude making comments to her that no one else could understand. We were 3 days in, roughing it in hammocks on the side of the river, not having seen a village for at least 8 hours. The guides kinda kept themselves to themselves after dinner, which was fine. But this evening they were a bit further away, and we could tell they were having a pretty heated discussion in a mix of German and local dialect. Suddenly, the German girl in the group turns white and looks terrified, and it takes us a few minutes to calm her down. She explained she heard the German guy talk about making sure the others will be at the place, and they will have the guns, and that the crocodiles will get rid of the guys, and the girls will go with them to some village the day after next. We kinda freaked out, but decide that being alone with these 2 dudes days from anywhere in the middle of the fucking rainforest, we were pretty much trapped. We decided on a plan, which fortunately went our way. Early the next day, we decided that the next time we saw another canoe expedition pass us, we would essentially shout and scream at them that we were being kidnapped and needed help. Fortunately, a 4-canoe group came past, and we enacted our plan. Our guides immediately just got the fuck out of there. Didn't even protest about our crazy accusations or anything, other than to pull a sawn-off 12 gauge from under a blanket and pointed at us to stop us chasing them, which kinda validated to us that they were planning to kill/traffic us, and they didn't hang around to get caught. We got taken to the nearest village a few hours down a branching tributary, where we explained the situation to the local police and some soldiers that were on exercise or something. Turns out there was a suspected serial killer operating out of the Maracaibo area, targeting tourists going into the forest, active since 1996. I was never able to corroborate any of the info we were told by the police using any Western media source or internet searches. We still occasionally email each other about our close call, but it's been 20 years and we've moved on with our lives. I've never told family or my wife, and I don't think anyone else ever told more than a handful of people. A guy followed me home from the train station once. I think he still knows where I live. I got out of work and was waiting at the train station. I had my headphones in and was staring at the TV with the arrival departure times. This guy suddenly appeared out of nowhere, got really close to my face, and asked me if I had a boyfriend. I said nothing and walked away quickly. He smelled homeless, and had these big, crazy eyes that were darting around the room as he spoke. He also had an erection, and had gotten so close that he'd spit on my cheek. There are weird people at train stations. Whatever. I'll never see him again anyway. Move on. After I get off the train, I take 2 buses and walk a few blocks to get home. I was focused on the podcast that I was listening to, and wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. All of the buses were also very crowded. When I reached my stop and started to walk home, I noticed that the creepy guy got off the bus behind me. There was nobody else around, so ran home. When I got to my door and started to unlock it, he was standing at the end of my driveway. I was crying and fumbling with my keys. Then some of my neighbors pulled up in a truck and I screamed, "Hello, sir, help!" Then the creepy guy turned and walked away into the woods. I called the police, but they didn't show up for a while. They had me write a statement, but seemed uninterested. My husband left work early and came home. We saw the creepy guy lingering around the neighborhood and walking past our house a few times in the following days, but he eventually stopped. Haven't seen him since.